We're going to start things off with a look at Minecraft, the next 10 years, and to take us through it, please welcome your moderator, Rebecca Gordius. Rebecca. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Last month, Minecraft reached its 10-year anniversary, so we thought that this would be a really good time to come together and talk about how we got here and what the future holds for the next 10 years. So I brought some of my favorite folks from both Stockholm and Seattle to come together and chat with all of you here today. So please welcome to the stage the Minecraft team. So Minecraft started out as a PC game back in 2009. And over the last 10 years, we've grown to 20 different platforms. We've launched some positive impact initiatives like Block by Block and Minecraft Education Edition. We have a huge community of content creators. And in the last year alone, we announced 3 new games. So first up, before we get into all of those new games, I brought Jens Bergensten, Chief Creative Officer at Mojang, to talk about how we got to this point. So Jens, first, do you want to just tell us a little bit about your history with Mojang and what your current role entails?
Absolutely. Yes, I'm Jens Bergensten. I'm known as Jeb in the Minecraft community. Thank you. I started working at Mojang in 2010, and that's about 18 months after Max Persson created Minecraft. And I actually started as a back-end developer for Scrolls, but quickly moved over to helping Notch with Minecraft. And today I'm the Chief Creative Officer at the Mojang in Stockholm. And I help the different Minecraft projects with a vision for the Minecraft universe and my input on the game design. So that's what I do today.
Great. So how do you think that we got to this point? How has Minecraft stood the test of time? What are some of the things that, helped it stand out?
Yeah. I often think back to when I played Minecraft the first time. I honestly didn't have much features, and it's the version that we recently, for the anniversary, we released the Minecraft Classic, and that's essentially the version I played the very first time. So that's June 2009. And it was already back then quite amazing. And so I tried to remember what was amazing about it. And I think the interaction with one block at a time, and that you're actually inside your creations, and it's very simple to build something small and then imagine something big. That is still the core of the game. And then we build this universe around it to give players more to experience.
Totally. Okay. Well, how has the creative process changed over the years, though? Like, how do we decide what to put into Minecraft and what changes to make?
Yeah, there has been changes, for sure. The first year, when I worked with Notch, it was almost like a game jam every week. Like, we could have an idea on Monday, and by Friday, we released it in one of our updates. And we, of course, took a lot of inspiration from the community and acted on feedback. Today, the community is, of course, massive. We have so many different platforms. We have a larger team, and we want to make sure that we keep this let the developers have the spark of the moment with ideas and do fun things, while still have on a bigger picture, have a longer plan, so more teams can work together towards a common goal. So we try to find that balance.
Okay, cool. Well, I think that's a good segue into talking about new games. So next up, we have Patrick Liu, who's our Director of New Games at Mojang. So do you want to just give us a little bit of an overview on what you're working on and your history?
Yeah, so my name is Patrick. I work with basically the strategy around our new games, and I work very closely with Jens, helping me with the creative part, of course. There are a couple of things that we are looking at, and there are a couple of reasons why we're doing this as well. So we all love Minecraft, and we know also our players do that, and we just want more of it. The main game is already very good. It is solid. It's getting updated all the time. But there are things that we want to do that may not fit within the scope of that. And we know everyone wants just more of Minecraft, and that's the main reason. You can also say that a lot of the growth in our franchise has happened by platform jumping the last 10 years. So we are on 21 platforms today, but we want to grow in other ways, basically making new experiences and reaching new audiences.
Yeah. So do you think that we would ever see something like an RTS or an RPG or even a shooter game in Minecraft?
Absolutely. Like there are a number of genres that we are really passionate about, and we have been exploring and looking into different venues. You can see an example of that in Dungeons, for example. And then we kind of try to apply the pillars of Minecraft and see how it changes a genre. And we're discovering things all the time. So it's super exciting just to see where we end up with that.
Awesome. Cool. Well, speaking of Dungeons, next we have Måns Olsen, who is the game director for Minecraft Dungeons. So do you want to just tell us a little bit about the game and what your role is working on it?
Sure. Hi. So my name is Måns Olsson. Again, the game director for Minecraft Dungeons. I've been at Mojang for not quite as long as Jens, but nearly. And so Minecraft Dungeons is an action-adventure game inspired by traditional dungeon crawlers that we're making. It's made by a small and dedicated team at Mojang in Stockholm, so we're about 20 people all in all. And yeah, it's coming to Xbox and Windows and Xbox Game Pass, and then we're super excited that it's also coming to Switch and PlayStation 4.
That's awesome. So can you remind me, when is this releasing and where can people find out more if they want to know more about Dungeons?
Right. So we have a Dungeons game on Twitter and Minecraft.net/dungeons for finding out more about the game.
Awesome, thanks. And then last, also with us, we have Brad Schuber, who's the art director on Minecraft Earth. So kind of same deal. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Minecraft Earth?
Yeah, again, I'm Brad Schubert, art director on Minecraft Earth. And simply put, Minecraft Earth is Minecraft in AR. And we started developing it, through our experiences that we had on HoloLens and that magical feeling that you got. And we developed some core principles really early on with that. And the first one was that it had to be the real Minecraft. That this isn't like a stripped down version or a fake version of Minecraft that you play in AR. It's the full experience. So crafting, mining, finding mobs, collecting peaceful mobs, sometimes risking it with more hostile mobs, redstone, all the things that you already know about Minecraft and you're used to and you love is now here out in your world. The second thing was that it had to be AR. There isn't a mode you can turn on and off. We foundationally built it to be in AR. So all the experiences are tailored to be in your hand, in your world around you. So that's been fun. And lastly, it's all multiplayer. Everything that we talk about is multiplayer. Minecraft has a rich history of bringing the communities together around the world. And so we took that same tradition and we're making it multiplayer, but around you. And so we really have the goal of bringing people together around you so you can play with your friends like you normally would, a board game or with blocks when you're young. Everybody who's around you is in there experiencing this thing together and contributing to whatever it is you're experiencing, whether it's building or having an adventure.
Awesome. And then where can people find out more information about Minecraft Earth?
Yeah, well, Minecraft Earth is going to be on any device that supports ARKit and ARCore, so Android and iOS. And those two platforms can play together, so there isn't a separation between those. If you want to find out more about the game, it's on Minecraft.net. And we will be starting our closed beta rollouts this summer.
Awesome. Cool. Okay, well, we have Minecraft Dungeons, Minecraft Earth, also a new board game for Minecraft. So why did we choose these experiences? Let's kind of open it up. Why did you decide to do a dungeon crawler or an AR game?
Sure, I can start with Dungeons. So Jens and Henrik had a discussion about sort of what new experiences can we bring? What are good things that that we're passionate about and that we feel are interesting as a team that we can bring to the Minecraft universe? And then a dungeon crawler came up in a discussion there. And then we wanted to make sure that we could really focus on one aspect of Minecraft and make that the best it could be, rather than trying to do everything that the game does. So we're super focused on combat and just trying to make that feel fun and fluid and tight, and then taking that to a genre that we all, as players, as people on the team like and that we're excited about, and then thinking about how does that fit in Minecraft.
Yeah, and for Earth, I started talking, excuse me, about the HoloLens version. A lot of us worked on the HoloLens version, and we found this magical connection of this world that you're kind of already in love with and kind of know and understand how it works, being there with you in your world, and that connection that people had when you could get in and see the pig was looking you right in the face was just an experience that brought it home. It really made it personal. And so we've been waiting for a while now to see like when technology and the ability to get that same experience out to as many people as possible was available. And now the phones and the technology and the coverage of the number of people that have things that would be able to experience this feels like a good time, a right time for us to get in and start exploring that and sharing it with as many people as we possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. I, as someone who tried both the HoloLens demo a few years back and then also now, I have Minecraft Earth on my phone in beta, or in private testing. Sorry. It's amazing. Like, I would have never been able to afford a HoloLens, but I can have it on my phone and be doing that on my own. So that's really cool.
I could also add that the Minecraft community create a lot of cool things and experiences in the way of like modding and mini games and like the things that we have on the marketplace. So when we start thinking about these new experiences, we are thinking like, what could we do that like either is very hard to do in the core game or doesn't really fit? Like, how can we expand on the whole Minecraft franchise, and then let us, as you said, specialize to make a game design that works specifically for that purpose.
Yeah, cool. And how has it felt to finally be able to show these things to the world and see how the community's reacted and be able to talk about them? Is the team, I'd imagine, pretty excited?
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic to finally be able to show what we've been working on. We've been doing it for a long time, and it's something that we're happy with it. We think it's fun, and we want to show that to other people and then get input, see what does the community think, what do other people think, are there changes to be made to make this the best it can be?
Yeah, very similarly. We've been working on it for a little while. I think it's been about a year now that we've been really focusing on it. And we were super nervous about whether or not like this is something that we could translate properly to uphold like kind of that feeling and that the follow what the community loves about Minecraft. Can we put that in AR and actually respect the lineage of the game? And so now that we've able to start showing people outside of our office, it's been really exciting to see their reactions and hear their feedback and see what they're responding to and what they're struggling with, so that we can start to grow as well. I mean, we're following the way the game has been developed since day one. Put it out there, see how it goes, iterate, talk to the community, find out what people are doing or not doing, and go from there. So it's a bit of a relief that now we can start to get the feedback that we need and see how people are reacting to it.
I mean, I've been following these guys from the background this week and just watching them demo stuff, and it's been super nervous, just from my perspective as well, because when you bring something new out there, we don't know how the audience will receive it, because it has to be something fresh, but also ring true to what Minecraft is. And just getting that validation has been really good this week. I'm super happy how we've been doing.
Yeah, it's been exciting. I've been helping out with the demos too, and you're kind of praying that no one's going to set everything on fire, but it happens sometimes.
There's already the screenshots of everything burning. So.
Yep. So, like taking it back a step, what kind of lessons would you say that you've learned in working on Minecraft, either in-game development or just in general?
I think from my perspective, I've been in the industry for a while, and what I have learned since I've been here is that, like, some of the way that Minecraft is developed and the look and the feel and the game mechanics have such a tight loop of connection, but also on the surface it seems it has some really nice restrictions. And so it's been kind of working in this wonderfully created world around the restrictions that are in there so it stays, and you get to focus on things that are like fundamentally fun and fundamentally important when you don't have all of this other things piled on top just to make the game good. We can really focus on the things that are important. And with Earth, translating the Earth, it's the same thing. It's like, Minecraft is fun, and what we add in there has to fit in there. And the rule sets and the way the game is put together has made us really, again, just focus on what's fun. And getting back to just simple what's fun to play with has been a fantastic experience.
Yeah, I think tying into that, similarly, the limitations that exist in Minecraft are something that I'm sort of continuously reminded of as a good source of inspiration and creativity. So it kind of, Minecraft is this game that seems limitless in many ways. You can build whatever you want. You can do whatever you want in the game. But it comes with an interesting set of limitations, like the blockiness and the art style and certain elements of the gameplay as well, what fits and what doesn't. And it's always a good reminder to sort of think about that and how that affects the design.
I think tying into that also is, what I also learned over the years is you have to pick your battles, because we always have so many ideas and things that we really want to do, and we get feedback from the community, and we would like to do everything, but at the end of the day, we need to also kind of sit down and think through, like, what makes the most impact, what's most fun, what's important for us to really focus on, and then at the end of the day, it should end up with a better game.
Well, are there any other learnings or things that you would want to pass on to folks who are just getting started in game development? I know we have probably a few folks at home who are just kind of getting their careers going. Like, what do you wish someone would have told you way back when? We don't have to put dates or ages into this.
Thank you.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's really hard. Usually when I get that question, I say that you just do it in a sense, because if you have an idea, just try to make it yourself. You will most likely fail, but every time you make this attempt to do what you want, you will learn you will get better at the craft, but you will also learn a lot of lessons by just doing, because game development is a very practical job. Like, the only way to learn it is by doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I talk to game dev students a lot, and one thing is I usually tell them that you rather finish something that you're not super happy with, but rather finish that than not finishing at all and try to make something perfect. Mm-hmm. Because you learn a lot from just finishing stuff. And also let other people play your games, get feedback from people, and see that as a gift when people tell you something that's something you should value and consider.
Yeah, I think community feedback to Minecraft in particular is so important and really helps us, fine-tune the game and figure out like what kind of things the players want. Would you guys agree? Is there any particular community feedback that you found valuable over the years?
It's hard to pinpoint one thing,
Yeah.
of course, but we get so much feedback all the time, and sometimes those are great ideas that we we have to add this immediately, like we can't live without it. But then, of course, we have I think we have a list of 200 things that we've picked up from the community that we will do eventually, and some of them are, of course, like small things, but still it has to be done by someone at some point. Often also, like the community's feedback can also become very noisy when you get so much of it, and you get sometimes so many negative feedback as well, like criticism, which is good, but it's also tiresome. So you try to focus and do what you think is best for the game, and sometimes that's not always like appreciated. And I know we spoke earlier about like a few years ago we made changes to the combat mechanics in the core game, and that is still very controversial in the community. And so I need, even though I work now as more of a overseeing position, I will sit and try to make new attempts to make like the combat mechanics better myself, and this time I'm going to make sure that I work with the community properly. We're getting warnings.
I think finding ways to get that feedback early is also important. So a thing that Jens did, when we started our dungeons, we didn't really have any antagonists, but we knew we needed a faction, something that could be representing the enemy in the game that you fought. And so Jens came up with this idea of creating a faction called Illagers. They're evil versions of the villagers. And those were introduced so that we could have an enemy in dungeons, but they were introduced in the regular vanilla Minecraft game. And that's been super helpful for us as designers for dungeons, because we can see those designs for the first few Illagers being in the game in Minecraft, and how do people respond to those, what works, what doesn't, so that when we add more Illagers in our game, we can do that with that in mind.
And we're not in a position yet on Earth to be getting the community feedback, and we're trying really hard to get in a position to start that. But previously, when I was working on the DLC and other things on the core game, it isn't always obvious the influence that community has, especially on things like the first-party DLC that we worked on. But we are looking all the time, from designs to colors to content to the themes that we would release. That the community feedback was essential, and for us to hone in on what people really wanted. And I'm super excited for Earth, because we need a lot of that, especially in the format that we have. It's going to be great.
Yeah, this has been an exciting week. I've personally loved seeing how excited everyone's been about Dungeons and Earth, and we have a lot of really cool stuff coming up. So I think that'll wrap it up. It's time for us to go get back to work, yeah?
Yes.
So, all right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.